G'day guys, in this video what I'm going to go through is how to move a reverse camera feed that appears in your rear view mirror and move it down, for example, to a head unit, media head unit, if you have one in the center console. So I'll be doing the job in a 2015 Mazda BT-50, so it'll be the same process and same colour wires in the Ford Rangers as well. But the things that we go through can be applied with any car, you just won't have the same core colours and stuff like that. But the testing procedure and the way to figure it all out will be exactly the same for the majority of cars. So the issue for me is I put a canopy on the back of the car and now I can't see out the back. So I did a reverse camera install, a clip-on feed that shows a full-time 1080 image from what the rear view camera is showing out the back. That is new camera mounted up high to try and simulate where a rear view mirror might get an angle from. But there's also the reverse factory camera, which is mounted down lower. Now I've lost this because it appears in the mirror, but I have the clip-on mirror on top. That's just the garage door at the moment because it's not fully open. Normally when the car's in reverse, I get this reverse image from the low down reverse camera that I mounted on the back of the canopy. The new head unit does come with a reverse trigger, but there is no camera feed into it. So I want to put that down there. So I've lost this image, but this image is really handy as a low down angle to show me where the tow ball is and to look for things lower down, say for example reversing out of car spots or into car spots. It would be handy to have both of these angles playing at the same time, one on the mirror and one down in the center console. So that's why I want to change it, but there's plenty of reasons that you might want to change it. So we're just going to go through the general process for doing that and how to find your reverse camera feed. So I do reference a workshop manual in this, but without the workshop manual it would have been kind of a similar process, just with the live testing and figuring out which was the coiled pair. So this head unit I'm actually returning, but this will be the same on the next head unit that I'll get. I'm going to run in an RCA cord and just make sure that it does work, and then I can just leave this from the camera, which I can't use anyway, tucked behind here somewhere for the head unit that I finally install. So I've pulled the head unit out, and this is quite a common thing that you'll have on the back of your head unit. It's just an RCA connection that is female. So we've got our new extension lead here. We'll plug the male end into that and then we'll be cutting off the female end. Just make sure it all fits together first, and you can run out a rough length of cable. I'm just doing this as an example, I won't be cutting it yet. In this particular car we've got two covers, top one comes off, and if you haven't removed them before they will be a bit difficult to get off, but neither of them have any screws or anything like that. Now underneath the mirror we have our connections here. Looking from the other side, this connection is the one that we're looking for. That feeds into the mirror, so we'll unplug that, and this is what we'll be tracing back to try and splice into. So because I have a workshop manual, I've been able to find this connection, and I know that the two on the far right are the ones we'll be using. One is white with a green stripe, the other is brown with a purple stripe. But there is a way to check without a workshop manual. So this is what we're looking at here, and you can see we've got the colour codes and we've got pins 4 and 5. WG and an NV. Those colour codes are white with green and brown with violet or purple stripe. That style of connector, that 5 pin, that matches what we had in the car as well, and you can see that those are the connections that are shielded. This symbol here is for the shielding, and they run between the rear view camera and the interior mirror. The interior mirror is where we were disconnecting that plug from. So these colours are specific to this car, but it's quite easy to figure out even if you don't have any workshop manual and you have no idea of what colours you're looking for. So we'll look through how to do that as well. So we've disconnected that one plug. We also have a plug for the rain sensing wiper, so we'll disconnect that as well just to get more length on this cable loom. I will be removing this roof console, the rear visor over here, the A-pillar and this handle, just so I can drop the roof lining down and pull out the cable. So if you didn't have a workshop manual, you can remove all the insulating tape, and you should have one particular pair that is taped within the outer insulating tape separately. In this instance it is an alfoil screening sort of tape, so we are going to tap into this, but I'm going to do it with a knife. I'm not going to chop it in half yet because I think there might be another drain wire on the inside. So I'll just open up this alfoil and we'll be left with the two colours in pins 4 and 5. But this is a good way, if you don't have any drawings, to figure out what your screen is. And then using the testing method that we'll do in a little bit, you can figure out which one should connect to the positive of the RCA extension that we do. All of those colours that weren't in the alfoil, we can locate here at one of the two plugs. So we know that within the alfoil is the white with a green stripe and the brown with a purple stripe, because every other colour is present there. So after dropping the roof lining and pulling a bit more of the cable out, we can see here there's that screen wire that is continuous. So I haven't cut this in half. I've peeled back the alfoil and I have cut the white and green, which looks a bit more yellow and green, and the brown and violet. Now I don't know which one is the positive, so I'm actually going to do some live testing just by stripping back our RCA extension cable and using the different connections into the different cables here on those screw terminals. So I have cut the white and green and the brown and violet, and I'm just going to use that RCA extension. So here we've stripped off the female end, and you can see the one with the inner sleeving, that is going to be our positive feed, and the outer core is just a screen that wraps it around, and that will be our negative. So I'm just going to touch those in these two terminals with the battery reconnected and the head unit on, as well as the car in reverse, because that's what we need to get an image, and then we'll just see what combination of things provides us with an image. So neither of these has 12 volt, so this is how I found out which one was meant to go which way around, and touching them the wrong way around did not cause any issues, no fuses get blown or anything like that. So I just had to figure out which one was which, and then that was it. We can tap into it. So you can see within your loom, going to the rearview mirror, you will have an extra coiled pair. So it will be taped up with the rest of the loom, but it will be taped even more and segregated. It may or may not have that full L4 screen around it, but it might have a screen wire on the inside, like the one that I had here did. It had both. So that's how you can identify your video feed. On the live testing that I did with the connectors and the RCA cable cut, there was no dramas with reversing the polarity. It just doesn't work. And then when you get the polarity right, then it does work. So in this particular car, we had the white with the green stripe, even though it did look a little bit yellowish under the tape. And then we had the brown with the violet stripe. That was the negative. So I was curious. I did test both for voltage before I put the RCA cable on to the Kenwood unit, and both represented 0.7 to 0.8 volts DC. So I wasn't worried about reversing those feeds and somehow blowing something by shorting out a 12 volt feed down to earth. Okay, so you see everything's working there. Now the quality on the head unit wasn't great, but I don't know the specs on the reverse camera. It's a factory one. It could just be the fact that it's not on this tiny screen anymore, has a limited amount of pixels that need to be stretched into the larger display. It starts to look rubbish. The other thing is that we have split that feed. I didn't disconnect the feed to the rear view camera. I kept it there just in case if for some reason I got rid of the rear view dash camera, I still wanted that reverse feed. It could be because of that, but splitting at one time shouldn't have too big an issue. I think it's more to do with the quality of the rear view camera from factory, not meant to be displayed on such a large screen. However, the more you split something, the lower the quality will get as well. That's how you move it. Not too hard a job, just need an RCA cable. Cost me $7.95 from Jaycar. Couple crimps, couple crimping tools, all the stuff you need I'll try and link down below where relevant, and thanks for watching. So what I'll be your reverse camera feed out of rear view